What's good, YouTube? It's Coffee on the vid. Back at it, and we got an update into this dirtbag weirdo, Dan Schneider, who a lot of individuals my age look back on, our years coming up. A lot of these shows we watched on Nickelodeon, the nostalgia factor and everything, like all that. For me, I used to watch that all the time. And some of the other shows, Drake and Josh, I watched with my kids when they were growing up. We used to bond over watching that show. And then we find out, I think, did he do iCarly too, I believe, Sam and Cat? I think he was involved in those projects as well. And then we find out the type of weird ish that this guy was on. And you're just like, damn, man, that's like a violated type feeling that stuff we grew up on was tainted in a sense. Comment everyone out there if you feel that same way. I haven't watched the documentary that's out yet about Nickelodeon. If you have, let me know your thoughts about it. But another person, I don't believe they appeared in that documentary. Once again, I haven't seen it yet. But Lori Beth Denberg has spoke out about her dealings with Dan Schneider and just how this is something she struggled with and dealt with for years. And, that Nickelodeon didn't do anything, in her opinion, that they didn't protect her, and that, they treated them, the cast, the youth that were on these shows, kind of more like, this is a privilege for you to be here. So more or less be thankful rather than, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, on our watch there was this weird ish going on, where at the end of the day, he didn't get ousted from Nickelodeon until way, way later. And it was for verbal abuse. That's what they found out based on their own internal investigation. And that was all the way in 2018, but Lori Beth Denberg, apologies, was on all that from the very, very beginning, the get-go. She was a little bit older than some of the other cast. She was 17 years old. And she says that things didn't get weird, I guess you would say, or creepy or evil or wicked, however you want to reference it, till she was 19. That her first real personal dealings where he came at her sideways was when she was 19. She had went to another producer, a female producer, having some kind of talk about losing weight, or she wanted to lose weight, something like that. She was unhappy with her weight, and the Schneider piece of garbage called her into his office and basically was heated about it and was saying, he was mad that she didn't come to him, that they should have had that conversation because he knows what it's like to be overweight as well. And it's like, dude, this is a 19-year-old girl. You're 29. I mean, obviously, in the eyes of the law, that's legal and everything at that time if he was to try to come at her or whatever. But there's something with a lot of this weirdo-ish is what's legal and what's moral and what's not weirdo-ish. That's in weirdo-ish. It's not all one and the same. The dude called her in there to talk about that and came at her like he was mad, and then ended up kind of talking to her, and it turned into this long conversation where he started pulling up porn on his computer and showing it to her. And that's just weirdo, period. For a 29-year-old to call her in there as a superior in the studios or whatever, making the show, be way older than her, and then kind of mentally groom her in a way and push her with this conversation, and end up bringing it in a roundabout way to start showing her porn that led into bestiality porn of a woman doing something with a donkey. What a sick fuck. And apparently after that, over the years, there was a lot of times where he was trying to get massages from her and I think other castmates as well, and always showing porn to everyone, trying to test them to see how far he could push them. She says he never actually physically did anything to her until later on, when they were, I guess, watching Jeopardy and made some kind of bet about who could get the most questions right or whatever. He turned it into a thing where the winner gets a massage from the loser. Like, what a creep. That's all everything comes to with this guy, is pulling out porn or trying to get people, like force people to massage individuals. Just straight creep vibes. And I guess she ended up winning the bet, but he flipped his lid, got real mad at her, and then just kind of forced himself on her. Straight predator behavior. And I guess, once he started with the weirdo behavior with her, from that point on, it just escalated more and more before she ever really spoke up, which, as I already stated, they didn't really do anything. Nothing ended up happening until 2018. This guy got a Life Achievement Award in that time period before getting ousted from Nickelodeon. And she just speaks of just a lot of situations where he was controlling, always flipping his lid and screaming on people like in a very aggressive way. And he would just do things, according to her, to humiliate people, like change their lines during different sketches and skits and stuff like that to humiliate them. Or she spoke of one time where there was a sketch she used to do on all that, where it was called like Sweaty Woman or something like that. So to do that scene to appear sweaty, she would have to be covered in water. And I guess apparently on the stage, the ventilation or something, whatever the case would be, it would be very cold. And if she had pissed him off or, went against him in any way, or just something he didn't approve of, he would delay that sketch and have her standing there forever, so she would be cold, and then just keep doing retakes even if she got the lines right or whatever, just so this would push on, and she'd be freezing, just like a control freak, a total abuse of power, a predator. But she says that she still was around him a lot and even hung out with him at times because of his manipulative behavior and everything. She feared he would, do things to humiliate her or cut out certain parts of her from the show or whatever. And he used it as leverage and in a way to treat her all fucked up. But after a couple years, I forget how many years she was on the show, she decided to leave. She just was like, fuck this, I'm done with this, and stayed away or whatever. But she was friends with another castmate, that girl Amanda Bynes, who I guess when she originally joined all that, she was only 10 years old. And a couple years later, she got her own show that was also a Dan Schneider show, the Amanda Bynes Show. And I guess she had reached out to Lori Beth, wanting help, and just saying that the dude was always screaming at her, tripping on her, and just that the scheduling of the show was, not good for her health, where she was exhausted and stressed out. And when she showed up on the set to try to help her out or whatever, she was banned, where they had a picture of her up with security, like, don't let this girl in here. She might be all that alumni, but we don't want her motherfucking ass around here. When I'm describing all this too, it's like, I don't feel that I'm, in a sense, really describing it enough to really express the way she was expressing her disgust and experience with this creep, through media. But believe me, man, that the allegations are sick. I mean, just the fact that this guy always trying to bully these kids that work for him, and him pulling out porn and stuff like that around youth, it's just disgusting and disturbing, that in itself. But just all the weirdo mental power trip mind games, are real twisted. And I don't know, it's like, I don't feel like I'm necessarily describing it as righteous. You should go check out the interview, and she also spoke of an incident where she was driving with him somewhere one day, and they ended up getting pulled over, and she didn't even know he had like the strap on him, an illegal weapon in the car, and like basically threw it at her and was like, hide this ish. And she ended up hiding it, and when the police came over, he was just all like, oh yeah, me, I'm from Nickelodeon, this, that, and the third. And also speaking about a class or a show that he was a part of called Head of Class, which I think was from back in the 80s. But anyone who's been following this story, I urge y'all to go tap into her interviews and see what she's talking about, as sick people who victimize and violate people do it on many levels. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because they might violated certain individuals in a certain way on some straight up demon-ish doesn't mean that there's other individuals that they violate in a different manner. You know what I mean? That's also in turn a way that they often manipulate people, where when things and allegations come up, that's a way that they'll turn people against each other. Like, hey, you know, they're saying that this happened, but you know, like you've worked with me, and it ain't never been like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way these creeps and these predators rock. It's just all sick, twisted mind games and manipulation, and that's why I always just call these motherfuckers out straight up. Fuck them all. I hope they die and burn in hell. And again, I haven't watched the documentary. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I was surprised to hear that Drake Bell, who is a PEDO himself, who, you know, lied all about it and everything like that. He's a straight up convicted offender. And then he fled the country and tried to kind of somewhat take on a new persona to push on with his music career, you know, and basically left the country so he could try to leave that behind. But apparently with all this, you know, he's been speaking out about it. Everyone, again, who's seen the documentary and everything, let me know. Like, I guess apparently a lot of people are like cutting this dude slack and showing him love from this point on, giving him a pass because of the Dan Schneider weirdo, you know what I mean? His dealings with him. Let me know your thoughts about that. But when I heard this story first coming out, you know, where it's been getting coverage a lot over the past couple months or so, I know someone that actually read a book that what's her name, Jeanette McCurdy, the girl from Sam and Cat. I guess she included some stuff in her book about this weird ass motherfucker, you know. So I had heard rumblings of it before, and here we are now, where there's been this documentary. And I don't know, like, as I stated, I always feel these weirdos need to be put on blast. It's so disturbing. You know, we hear of all the ish that goes on in the entertainment industry, and have heard for years and seen a lot of how child stars have such a problematic life. You know, some even end up hitting an early grave. You know, like they're battling with a lot of demons and things like that from the ish they encountered in the entertainment industry. Like that Amanda Bynes girl that I was just mentioning, that, you know, this Beth Denberg was saying she kind of tried to look out for her, take her under the wing, but, you know, it seems like she harbors some feelings that she might have failed her, failed to protect her, and, you know, the network people they reached out to failed to protect them. But the Amanda Bynes girl, she's had all kinds of problems being in a conservatorship like Britney Spears was, and you know, being hospitalized numerous times, like pretty recent, I think, as well. I don't know if they cover that in the documentary or not. But this Dan Schneider, sick bastard, he's like apologized to this girl, but then also shoots down some of the things she says as well. It's manipulation all in itself in the apology, it sounds like to me. He said, as I previously have stated, there were times, particularly in the early years of my career, that I made mistakes and exhibited poor judgment as a leader. If I did that with respect to Lori Beth, I sincerely apologize, but I cannot apologize for things I did not do. So it's like, what are you even saying? You know, there's all these allegations against you. And again, I haven't seen the documentary, but from my understanding, there's some real devious, twisted, sick ish in there. And this dude's apologizing for being a poor leader, but he can't apologize for all these false allegations. Like, what are you even apologizing for if you're acting like it's all lies? I don't know. It's all confusing and disturbing. But once again, that's what manipulators do, straight up. So that's why anyone, if in your life there's people being mistreated, or you see people abusing their power, or just being a manipulative sack of ish, do something about it. Get help. Put them on blast. You know what I mean? Because they're just going to continue to abuse their power and victimize individuals. You know what I mean? But everyone, stay safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Stay weirdo free. Again, they're out there. Society is a bugged out times we're living in. It's good versus evil. There's real wildish going on. So stay safe. Protect yourself, your friends, your loved ones, and hit the comments with your thoughts about all this. This was a story I had seen breaking before that was twisted, and definitely wanted to address it and see everyone's thoughts about it. But I hadn't really been making content like I used to. But with Beth Denberg coming out speaking her piece, I figured I'd tap in with y'all on it, and again see everyone's thoughts, and see what individuals who saw the documentary what y'all had to say about it, and if Lori Beth is mentioned in it at all. And also wanted to see if anyone else felt the same way, like what the fuck, like came up watching a lot of these shows and come to find out there was all this creepy-ish going on. It's just so twisted on a network that creates shows and content geared to the youth growing up. Like, this is what was really going on in the cut, and Nickelodeon didn't step in or do ish until 2018. And they just basically said, dude verbally abused people. That's it. That's all they said he did. Like, I ain't buying it in this bull-ish. I wonder if any of these motherfuckers are gonna sue Schneider, sue Nickelodeon. What do y'all think about that as well? Tap in and let me know. Subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. We talk music, news, sports, current events, life, and much more over here. And I'm gone, y'all. Peace.